morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Okay. Welcome to the Future Focus series. This week, we're focusing on careers in Agriscience. And we have our two guest of honors here. We have Mr. Clarence Rudat and Mr. Lee Andrews from MSU Extension. I'm not going to do a long introduction. I will let the gentlemen introduce themselves because they have a lot to say about, how they become doing what they're doing currently, and then they'll take you to the careers in Agriscience. Also, I would like to introduce Diane Peterson. Diane is my co-host today. She is one of the placement specialists at the ISD. So, gentlemen, take it away. Thank you so much again for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us. It's a great opportunity to be able to talk to students, and we always enjoy coming in and talking to students about careers in ag. So I'm going to pop up a presentation here, and we'll hopefully make this work without any interruptions. So again, thank you. My name is Clarence Rudat. I'm the program coordinator with Michigan State University's Institute of Ag Technology here in Muskegon. And today we're going to talk about all of the hot jobs and opportunities in food, agricultural, and natural resources. So please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have questions, any of that as we go through this. If anything happens to trigger a thought or a question, we'll be happy to try to address those issues with you. So, Lee, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. And yes, just talking about the agriculture program and the jobs in agriculture is really exciting to share. There's lots to do. There's lots of things to have. There's lots of opportunities for you. My role is the student advisor with Michigan State. Again, our program is located, though, at Muskegon Community College. So you can stay close to home. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But my role is to help you with classes between MCC and MSU, answer questions you have, and to give you any of the individual support that you may need on your journey through the IAT program. So thank you again for having us today. We're excited to be here. In the chat, I will also place some information. I'll put my email address. So if you do have questions, you can contact me. And also the website to IAT so that you can look at that, see some videos, and have even more information about our exciting program. So thank you again. And Mr. Rudat, you've got the floor.
Thank you. So it's our agenda today. We're going to talk about job opportunities, training programs, wages, and salaries. And again, we'll try to address any questions that you have. So one of the things about the industry is that it changes at a really rapid fire pace. It was interesting because last night I was working on a presentation. Somebody sent me some information, and again, it's new things that I learned about agriculture, food, and natural resources, which is exciting because it's changing in extremely a dynamic industry. So we're happy to share this with you. So we're going to talk about how this industry sector may fit into your interest, and we're going to use your interest to guide you to where you may fit into career options with food, ag, and natural resources right here in West Michigan. And the first thing I ask students is, do you want to make a difference? And most students say yes. And our programs allow you be able to do that because it's so diverse, and you can pick out where it is that you want to make that difference and an impact. As I tell people, everybody's got to eat. That industry is never going to go away. You will always have a job in the industry. One of the things about the industry, it is interconnected on so many levels, and we're going to try to address some of those issues. A little bit about the shortage of educated workers, and I'll talk this a little bit later as well. agriculture, natural resources, and food is part of the top jobs in West Michigan. It's on the top jobs list. I'll show you that list, but we have over 110,000 positions available last year in terms of a shortage of educated workers in the middle high skilled areas. There's just not enough people entering the pipeline. It's about $104 billion worth of economic activity in the state's second largest industry, and it employs over 1 million residents. 22% of the people that work in Michigan in this sector in some way or another. Just real quickly, if you have an interest in video production, photography, computers, social media, drones, robotics, we have a place for you. There's ag communications technology. I have a background in communications as well as my educational background. So there's a place for you. So depending on what your interests are, we'll find an area for you in the industry that is one of those high in demand careers. Science, fishing, hiking, safety, animal care. We have a whole environmental and natural resources sector. In fact, at Michigan State University, we are launching an urban forestry environmental tech program at the Muskegon campus location, which I'll talk about a little bit as well. If you like to work with your hands and equipment and fix things, renewable energy, if you like problem solving energy, building things, fixing things, we have this whole area of construction and electrical technology that is a fit for you. If you like creating change, public advocacy, public speaking, if you like managing people, if you like handling money, watching the stock market, we have a whole section that's in business and management, public policy. In fact, I talked to a former student who is out in Washington, D.C. as a consultant last week, and that was one of those areas that was a really big fit for her, and it's all about the agricultural side of things. In fact, she was the former speechwriter for the Ag Secretary, Bill Seck, who is now the current incoming Secretary for Agriculture as well. If you have an interest in athletics, people sometimes say, what does that have to do with ag? But athletics, landscaping, plant science, soil health, genetics, design. We have a whole section on agronomy and turf grass management. We have a golf course management program, turf grass. All of those playing fields are important. Your landscapes are important, and we have a section for you on that. And finally, food science, packaging, creating new products, cooking. If you like food, eating food, developing food, we have a whole food processing and food systems program for you. And that's really exciting because of the demand in the industry has almost increased it by 25% in the past year alone right here in West Michigan. So to hit a little bit about the production side of agriculture and our ag operations program, you can see that technology is a major change in production agriculture. So we have students who start off learning about things in the lab and then get out in the field and have opportunities to see that. And I'm always amazed by the equipment because it's like a gigantic video game. Precision agriculture is a big part of that. We have an unmanned aerial systems program and class that goes along and teaches students how to use these GIS systems and that precision equipment. Latest technology, I'm just using this as an example in the Apple industry. People don't realize that industry has changed significantly, gone to high density apple production. There's actually a bee trellis in this one picture down at the bottom right-hand side, and they actually farm the light in between the rows with this system and can double the amount of trees that they actually put in an orchard. Costs about $29,000 an acre to put that in. This guy put in 600 acres last year. If you do the math on that, that's millions of dollars of investment just to get it started. And you can see some of the equipment for harvesting, a lot of different types of equipment that's out there. Again, we need people who can solve those problems, come up with engineering and come up with equipment that helps make a product that can be harvested quickly, efficiently, and safely without harming any of the fruit. And that technology carries over into the greenhouse industry. This is a greenhouse robot located in Spring Lake, Michigan, largest producer of cut plants. They actually cut these, stick them, and transplant them in the world. This happens to be an apple packing plant. Again, people don't realize the technology behind this, but there are 7 of these large plants here in West Michigan. And it basically the technology is a hands-off technology, but they will take cameras. Those cameras will shoot 30 pictures a second, and it's light that goes inside the apple, so you don't ever, shouldn't ever get a bad apple in the store. Again, technology is extensive in growing plants. We have a lot of hydroponics in Michigan now. We have water, which a lot of states do not. So a lot of these hydroponic places are coming into Michigan. I was actually at one last week, and they are tripling the size of their operation. And again, really seeking out individuals that can come to work for them. And again, I mentioned the equipment and the whole kind of like playing around in a video game, except these are $1 million worth of equipment. But again, if you enjoy being outside and working with equipment, that's another aspect of that. Animal industry, again, is highly roboticized. Technology is on the cutting edge, and milking cows, feeding animals, those kind of things, all are part of that. And some of that technology actually have some certifications that go through and go along with that industry. So there's levels that I'll talk about a little bit later in terms of getting some certifications and licensing that go along with it. Food processing, again, highly technical, a lot of robotics, and lots of opportunities within that industry as well. So the educational training piece, not everybody in the industry needs a formal education to get into the industry, but we provide, Michigan State provides some of the middle school skilled, high skilled areas. And I'll talk about that and show you a slide here in a minute. But we provide things like weekend workshops, on the job training through professional internships. The MSU programs are certificate programs. You get an associate degree from Muskegon Community College. There are some apprenticeship opportunities and other training opportunities. And then you can go on and get your bachelor's, master's, or PhD if you so desire. Food processing, we have developed this mobile food processing lab to bring some of the latest technology right here to Muskegon. I just received a tour of the new farm facility in Muskegon at the Muskegon Community College campus, and there'll be a docking station for this mobile food processing lab. So students actually get a chance to look at things in the lab and experience some hands-on activity, and then move that into pilot facilities and pilot plants and get a chance to see what it's like in the industry. We have a whole fruit and vegetable crop production program. And for those of you who don't know, West Michigan is one of the most agriculturally diverse areas in the nation. Produce all kinds of things: asparagus, cabbage, squash, beans, all kinds of things. So we have a big demand there. We also have a landscape management program, which involves not only greenhouse, but it also involves that installation of things like irrigation, doing some leveling and landscaping, moving large equipment, doing hardscapes, installing lawns, working on turf grass. And we have an agribusiness side of things, which I had mentioned earlier. So this just happens to be one company, which is a loan company. So if you like to handle money and dole out people that are interested in getting loans, this company offers $100,000 in scholarships because they can't get enough people into the industry. So they keep trying to incentivize to get people out there to becoming part of these programs. Our newest program is an urban forestry program, urban and community forestry. We're actually doing a short course this spring, and then this course will be in full swing in this next year. So if you like the outdoors, like working with trees and on that environmental side, we've got a place for you. We have professional internships. Professional internships are linked up with somebody in the industry who's going to be a mentor and give you a well-rounded aspect of the part of the industry you choose. This happens to be September Dykema, who runs September's Flowers. So if you see cut flowers around West Michigan, that's where they come from, and we've had interns with hers. We have specialized classes at Muskegon. We have an apiary, which is honey production, and honeybees. Pollination is a real big issue. I actually had a pollination company that offered an internship starting out at $50 an hour. $50 an hour. I had to wrap my head around that, which is an incredible offer, and that's dealing in the beekeeping aspect of it and pollination. Just a list of some elective courses you could choose from. We have a lot more than just these, but transportation viticulture, which is my winemaking and growing grapes, hops production, which is the herb that's used in making beer. We have large animal sciences, unmanned aircraft, greenhouse production, organic, all along those lines, and many more. And developing new class courses as we go along. Current opening in the ag industry, I mentioned the hot jobs list, but when you take a look at the hot jobs from West Michigan, anything that's got this little yellow piece to it, next to it, is an indication that that's focused in the agricultural industry, including farming and food production. And just in West Michigan, it accounts for 26,000 jobs and $300 million in labor income for the West Michigan region, not just the state of Michigan, but West Michigan. There are 31 of the 59 jobs on the hot list are actually related to farming and food production. When we take a look at wages run anywhere from minimum wage all the way up to $67 an hour. And again, this is West Michigan sector that they're looking at. So it is a high quality, high demand career area in this side of the state. I mentioned the skill areas that we train students for. We kind of work on this high middle skilled areas is what our training is. You can do entry level in that low skilled area, and there are a lot of companies that will provide you with incentives to take some of our courses. We're working with Revolution Farms right now. We have 7 of their employees that have entered our food processing program, and they want to continue to get that training out there. So the Muskegon Community College Partnership Program with Michigan State University, we offer an agribusiness track, the agricultural operations, which is production, food and vegetable crop management, landscape management, urban forestry and environmental tech, and that food and beverage processing that I talked about. The highest growth is in associate degrees right now for the outlook in Michigan. It's one of the top 5 highest paying jobs. We are top in food production, fruit production in West Michigan, grapes, blueberries, apples, cherries, peaches, pears. West Michigan is top in vegetable production. We're #1 in asparagus. We have the largest, actually, in Muskegon County, the largest single producer of pickling cucumbers in the nation at Swanson Pickle. Again, people don't think about that, but that's stuff that's right here in our backyard. We are tops in nursery landscape production in the United States. The proven winner guys right here, which I showed you the robotics of previously, all proven winner plants actually start out right here in Spring Lake in those greenhouses there. We have one of the largest retail greenhouses in the state at Countryside. If you haven't been there, you should take a look at that. It's pretty cool. We are top in animal production in the Midwest, and I talk about this. People don't realize this. I think we are #3 in turkeys, #2 in dairy, hog production. There's a large equine presence, poultry production. The eggs produced in West Michigan actually end up in the Egg McMuffin. A lot of people don't realize that as well. Those eggs all go to all of the McDonald's east of the Mississippi. Lee, you want to talk about the dual enrolled portion of our program?
Would love to. Thank you. Again, welcome everybody. Again, my role as the advisor is to help you navigate between MSU and MCC. We meet with students. I meet with students monthly. So when programs talk about individualized help, we really model that. We really do that. It is really important because you are a student at MSU and MCC. We like to talk about you being able to receive a world-class education right in your own backyard. Being a student at MSU and MCC, you apply at both places, but here's the second bullet point there. MCC classes are at MCC rates, MSU classes are at MSU rates, but everything is offered at Muskegon Community College. So you do not have to go to East Lansing unless you want to. You are an MSU student. I had a meeting with a student this week that was trying to wrap their head around that. They were like, so I can go to a football game or a basketball game as an MSU student? Yes, you can. And you can sit in the student section and cheer like crazy for the Spartans. But going back to those two other bullet points, yes, if you are in county rate at MCC, that's right now about $125 a credit hour. MSU rates are $500 a credit hour. So there is a big difference, but the financial aid package that we do that is offered for you through MSU, we tell you when you fill out your FAFSA that you fill out the MSU portion. MSU has greater resources, and therefore they have a little bit more money to offer than Muskegon Community College has from the FAFSA standpoint. But again, just to stress, all classes are offered right here. So when we talk about a world-class education in your backyard, you can save a lot of money and stay right here. MSU in agriculture, not only the best in the state, one of the best in the country, and one of the best programs in the entire world. Next slide, Clarence. Maybe. There we go. As you can see, the admission GPA for our program is a 2.0. I put the IAT website in the chat, so please look at that along with my email address. So if you do have any questions, I'd be happy to email you, set up a Zoom meeting, do whatever just to answer your questions and make sure. But it is important, if you are interested, that you go through the IAT website to apply. We have had students that go through the 4-year. They click on the MSU website, they click on apply, they're not accepted, and then they'll come back and say, but you told me it was a 2.0. You have to apply directly through the IAT website. Again, because yes, for the 4-year program at Michigan State, you do need a 3.7, 3.8, 3.9 GPA to be entered into Michigan State University. Again, our program is a 2-year program. As you can see, it's 62 to 64 credits. Basically, if we split that up, it's half of the credits are from MSU, half are from MCC. Looking at the other bullet points, most students remain in Michigan, return to their community. As you can see, though, looking at that next bullet point, 5% of our students do go on to a 4-year program. So that means the majority of our students will complete the 2-year certification. They'll have their certification from MSU and their associate degree from Muskegon Community College. And with that, as you can see from Mr. Rudat, there are plenty of well and good paying jobs in the area that you can get. Not too many places can say, we're gonna get you a job, 100% job placement. We can't do any better than that. 100% is a really good deal. And I've already mentioned the certificate program and the associate degree. So again, a world-class education in your backyard. You are going to get individualized help and support to answer your questions and to make sure you're taking the right classes at the right time. And we'd love to, we'd love the opportunity to talk further with anybody that does have some questions. So thank you again.
So thanks.
Lee,
Yes.
may I ask a quick question, please? Sorry to interrupt. You mentioned about the website that student would have to apply directly through the Institute of Agricultural Technology, correct? And then they only would need the 2.0 GPA. But if a student who, through high school had, of course, below the 3.7, right? But then they still want to go to MSU afterward. So they entered through IAT, and then they turned themselves around, doing a very good job, and reached the 3.7 GPA, then they can have another opportunity to apply 2 more years at MSU, correct?
Well, let me even take that a step further. When you go back to look at that bullet point of 5% will go to MSU, we have a few of our students that do go on to MSU. So yes, if somebody does want to complete their bachelor's degree, and actually it's even better than that, because you need to carry at least a 3.0 to go on to the 4-year program in agriculture at MSU. So you still don't even need the 3.7. Once you're into our program, you can at least obtain a B average of a 3.0 with your MSU classes now. Then you are admitted into the 4-year agriculture program in the area that you want to go through. And maybe I want to go back to, thank you for bringing that up. You do apply to MSU and MCC students. So again, you are dual enrolled. So you have to apply to both places. So no, thank you for that question, Ms. Parker. And if you want to go to the 4-year college, again, about 5% will go on to MSU to complete their bachelor's degree.
Thank you for the answer. I just thought that would be so important that they understand that, so that, you know, that dream to go to MSU is not completely shattered if they didn't do too well in the high school.
You know, if you're not doing well in high school right now, there is still a wonderful opportunity. Don't be discouraged by that, because we do have students that have gone on to MSU just in that example that you gave us. Maybe they didn't do well in high school for whatever reason. They found their niche, they found their passion in agriculture, and that is what they went for it. They went for it. So one other thing too is that, you know, Mr. Rudat showed, and you can see in this picture right here, not every agriculture job means you have to be outside in the fields with boots on. There are so many opportunities in technology and middle management that you can have. I talked to a student yesterday that's going to be doing an internship, and the job that she's doing right now is outside. And she said for her internship, she's going to be strictly inside, learning more of how the business part of things are run. So I think that's kind of a misperception, if you will, about our program, is that, you know, I don't want to be outside picking something. Well, there's lots of other opportunities for you.
Thank you.
And I appreciate the Michigan State 4-year question. And just to clarify that 3.0 grade point average in college will give the student the opportunity to actually move to the 4-year program without doing an application. So if they happen to be below that 3-point level once they're in our program, they can still apply to transfer to Michigan State on the normal channels. That 3.0 just automatically gets them in. They make a request to transfer to to move to the 4-year program. Since they're already a Michigan State student, they just move from that 2-year program, and then their program states it's an UN 4-year program. And that's really been a seamless transition. So I actually had a student who did that a couple of days ago, indicated that he was going to move down on campus, and that process is taken care of. So great opportunity for students who may not be able to get directly into a 4-year program, but get a 2-year program at MCC. And then again, since they're already a Spartan and a Michigan State student, that process of going to 4-year is really seamless.
There's another question, please. There's another question that came through. Will all the credits be used in the 4-year program?
So if the students are in a our students, we advise them, if they are looking at going the 4-year, of what courses they need to be taking at Muskegon Community College that will transfer down there. So all those courses transfer down in a block, and then they're used within the programs down there, depending on how their advisor sees fit. So depending on what their major is, they may use like our Business 127 class to meet a general ed requirement, or maybe able to meet a business requirement, or whatever those requirements are. So great question. All of those credits move
Again,
down.
part of my role, I have had students that want to go on to MSU. We have them follow the Michigan Transfer Agreement, the MTA. So for an elective class, maybe instead of taking a general business class, we'll have them take chemistry or economics, something that will transfer to MSU. So great question, but yes, we will make sure we get their classes transferred, or as many as we possibly can. We can't guarantee all of them.
Well, that's
Thank
that kind
you.
of centers around if a student decides to take a phys ed class or something that doesn't transfer down to campus, but the credits at MCC are transferring down as a block. So,
yep.
Good
I
question.
mean, gentlemen, this information is so awesome because I mean, I didn't realize how many careers do exist in this one field of agricultural. I mean, it's huge. I can even see myself in some of the careers here, because I would have thought that I would want to be outside wearing boots and, planting like you said. But I mean, this is so interesting and it's just phenomenal. So, I mean, if any students who are, slightly doubting going into this field, I would highly recommend that, they take a look at it.
And this slide that I have up here, and thank you again for that. We get a lot of students who ask about, they want to be a vet, and this is just the matriculated class of 2024. And you can see there were almost 2,500 applicants, and the class size that came in, they took 116. So highly challenging. And I've got this document. There's a lot of volunteer hours. You can see grade point average. The point behind this, though, is that if you are interested in working with animals, we have a program for students that can deal with that and get them in the industry without having to become a vet, pay that 7-8 years of school, or even not be able to get in, because you can see that is a tough one to get in. We have an option for those. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was meeting with Dyke Ice Farms, which is a large hog operation, and they have somebody who is their healthcare person, and they're not a veterinarian, but they have this animal science background. So it gives some options around that. So it is
Awesome.
Maple syrup season. If you guys haven't stepped out back of the Career Tech Center in Muskegon there, they tap some trees. And always fun to be running sap at this time of year, and you can come up with the idea that we have some pretty sweet careers out there, and we would love for you to tap into world-class education right here in your backyard. And it's Muskegon Community College really is a place to find your passion here. Any other questions?
I do. And this might be not a super intelligent or intellectual questions. And I know somebody might have this question, but don't want to ask, but I'm just going to be brave and do it. Okay. I grew up in a warm country, in a tropical country, right? So I see that we have things that grow year round. Okay, so in Michigan, we have different seasons and our winter is long. So, and I know we have greenhouses and whatnot, and what you mentioned that Michigan is the biggest agricultural production state. Did I say that right? Okay.
Yeah,
so
correct.
So what happens during the winter time? I know that's a dumb question, but it's a burning question for me.
No, that's a great question. So, and you're exactly right. The production part of things, the majority of that in Michigan happen, spring, winter, and fall. But in the industry, there's all of this prep for that happening. So we have these agronomic suppliers that have to get ready for getting seed to a grower, getting fertilizers to that, working on fixing equipment, that kind of stuff. So they are year-round jobs, even though that the production may not be visually going on. So great question. There's that whole year-round prep work that goes in for when the season takes off. And that's one of the reasons why Michigan is so agriculturally diverse, is that we do have a winter. So there's a cool period that a lot of fruit has to go through. Fruit trees have to go through. And then we're right next to Lake Michigan, which has a moderating effect. So things don't get too cold and they don't get too warm. That actually makes production in our state an anomaly when you take a look across the rest of the United States, because we have this large population areas between Detroit and Chicago. And then we have this moderate where we could actually go in and we don't have to worry about droughts. We don't have to worry because we have all of this water. We don't have to worry about excessive heat killing off plants. So the largest producer of tomatoes used to be in Arizona, but they've moved all of their operations to Michigan, Ohio, and Canada. So Mastinardi, Sunset Produce. If you go into Meyer,
You saw that picture, Mr. Rudad, of in the suit, because the hydroponics, there is still a huge amount because we still have to eat in the wintertime. And so
Right.
there are, places right here in Michigan with massive sized places that grow all of our vegetables in particular. When you go to Meyer, you'll see Revolution Farms. I was in Harding's the other day and I saw Revolution Farms, and I know exactly what's going on there. So yeah, there's still plenty of growing even to do besides the prep that goes on in the wintertime in these massive facilities, even just a little bit to the south of us in Michigan.
Yeah, the world's second largest producer of red peppers is in Michigan. So if you go into Meyer, that's where they came from. We still field grow tomatoes and peppers and that kind of stuff, but there's a production piece that does happen year round as well. So lettuce, peppers, cucumbers are all grown year round now in Michigan, but we still have the field growns of those as well. So great question. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer. That's wonderful.
We don't grow oranges and grapefruit and pineapple here.
The weather definitely won't allow those.
Yes, absolutely. It's been wonderful, this last couple of days. Anything else that you would like the students to know before we have to wrap up our Future Focus series today, gentlemen?
I guess the last thing to say is, again, that, if you have an interest in an area, we'll find a place for you with an ag. And the piece of that is that a lot of you have been exposed to and seen the ag around West Michigan, which actually puts you a step ahead of everyone else. And that's why we want you in the industry. You're local, you've seen what the area has. And instead of having to try to get people from out of state to fill these jobs, we want to fill these jobs by the people who live here and vacation here and enjoy the beautiful Lake Michigan and everything that West Michigan has to offer. So there's some great opportunities here.
Thank you so much. And students, if you would like to find out more about the program, through the chat box, Mr. Andrews has left his email address right there for you. If you missed that, you can contact myself or Mrs. Peterson, and we'll be more than happy to connect you with the two gentlemen here. And gentlemen, thank you so much for such a wealth of knowledge today. I mean, I even enjoy that myself. It's wonderful. I learned a lot today, and I hope students do the same thing. And again, we might want to invite you back later on in the future. Thank you for your time, and stay safe and be healthy. Have a great day.